Agenda review. The review of the minutes for 2/24 we did at our last meeting, so we're going to eliminate number 5. And number 6, vote to adopt Robert's Rules of Order is already in our conduct of meetings and hearings, so we're going to remove that one as well.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
could we have a discussion of Robert's Rules of Order there?
Yeah, we can. Just leave it as a discussion then. Okay. Anything else need to be changed or added to the agenda?
I have nothing.
Not that I'm aware of. Okay. Comments from the select board? No comments from anybody?
Not yet.
Town manager?
I can reserve it for my report.
Okay. Citizens, any topics not on the agenda? Okay, we'll go down to discussion of Robert's Rules.
I'm waiting on a copy of Robert's Rules of Order from VLCT that I printed out. It's about 9 pages. It reduces it down to stuff for like local boards, simplifies it in pretty good shape. But you can't adopt it as is, because it's got a language in brackets and stuff it's suggestive for different boards and stuff. So you got to thin it down for which board you're using it for. So you have to go through it in that way. There's probably a few other things that are not included that are actually in the. This is Robert's Rules of Order for anybody that's interested. 9 pages would be a whole lot easier to navigate. And here it comes. I had it printed for everybody, so you'll have a copy to take home to review. And the agenda did call for Robert's Rules of Order to be voted on, but it's actually policy. It's in your, it's Section 9 in the Weathersfield Select Board Policies. The conduct of meetings is the policy, and Robert's Rules of Order is covered in there under Section 2. So we're under, we're already currently under Robert's Rules of Order, is all I'm saying. We're good to go there. So, and it would be, because of that, it would be a policy change, so it would be 3 readings when we do the, whatever we decide to do with Robert's Rules of Order would likely be a policy change. So we'd be involved with 3 readings. That gives us time to correct the language, make it fit, make it work for. One of the things I saw in reading it, though, it seemed kind of strange. It allows all our other boards to adopt, like, different rules, you know, if they want to, for their specific board, but it's limited to whether they are advisory or non-advisory, I think is the language that they use. And that describes the type of board. So, but we can get into that stuff when it's time. Thank you.
Anybody else discussion on this? Okay, we'll move on. Okay, 2025-26 board goals. If anyone has any goals they'd like to bring up that we would like to meet.
I do.
Doris?
Am I the only one?
Well, so far.
Does anybody else have any?
Well, you got your hand up first.
No,
get to
you go first.
No, you go.
Freshman here, you go first.
It doesn't really matter. At this point, we're here. Board goals. I was chair for 3 years, and my goal was to try to, and this is an opinion from what I've witnessed in like 16 years of coming to meetings. What I've been trying to do is convert the town over to an actual town manager form of government, because that's what we voted on back in the 70s, and get the board out of the long discussions of stuff that is handled internally that we really shouldn't be I don't think we need to micromanage or be involved in. And that would really drastically shorten our meetings if we just kind of think about that, how we handle that. Other than that, I don't really have any. I mean, goals. What do we have for goals? We got the fire department thing to get wrapped up. That'll be coming, but they're kind of handling that. That's not really so much ours, I don't think. But, to be watching. I can't think of anything else right off the hand.
Mike, we in the memorandum of understanding between the town and the fire departments, we have quarterly reports.
Yeah,
So we'll be reporting to the select board quarterly on our progress.
good, yep. I'm done.
DeForest?
My list is sort of a combination of maybe not goals, but wish list, and being the new guy on the block, I probably have some catching up to do, so bear with me. My first one is a town plan. I'd like to see us get better acquainted with the town plan. As you know, implementation of the plan involves far more than just amending our zoning bylaws. I'd like to see us get familiar with the goals and objectives that are not zoning related and work out how to implement them. Perhaps the Planning Commission would like to be part of that conversation. Number 2, long-range financial planning, and this may be where I have to catch up. I'd like to get better acquainted with our long-range financial planning programs while we're outside the budget season. I'm thinking highway equipment, paving, road maintenance, fire apparatus, et cetera, et cetera. What are our strategies for planning ahead for those expenses? Number 3, boards and committees. I'd like to see us create a better system for keeping track of the town's volunteer boards and committees to prevent a recurrence of what recently happened with the Veterans Memorial Committee. I have given Brandon a suggested template for better organizing this information. Maybe Brandon could share it with the board at the next meeting, perhaps, if you feel
Yeah.
that's appropriate.
Absolutely. I think it's a really great way to keep our boards and committees organized. I have not put them together yet because I'm waiting for appointments to happen.
Oh, no
So,
worries, but you can set up empty templates. I mean,
Yep.
what I'm envisioning is a single sheet of paper for every board that we have, and it tells you everything about that board, as well as who's on it, what seat, how long their term is, when their term is up, and that kind of thing. It might go a long ways toward helping us keep that information a little more organized.
And I did have a question on that. I might as well say, I was going to email you, but I might as well say, ask
Sure.
it now. Do you want those posted on each department, on each committee, commission, and board page?
No.
Or just one central location?
I can work with you that, you don't want to
Okay.
put the board's names and terms, board members' names and terms are fine,
Yep.
as well as all the board information, but not their personal contact information. I don't
Okay.
believe that should be on the website.
So that's just for us?
That's just internal.
I see. Okay.
And so that you know how to get in touch with people when there's a meeting coming up, or something special, or something gets canceled.
Yep, absolutely. No problem.
Number 4, reserve funds. Again, we had a sock in the eye on that one. I'd like to know how many reserve funds we currently have and what they're for. I'd like to better understand the policy for expending those funds, again, with an eye to preventing a recent unpleasant situation. Number 5, and I may be out of the loop on this, I'd like to know more about the status of the town's website. Are we planning to replace it? Are we going to attempt to fix what ails it? And what are the respective costs of those options? And lastly, town policies. Mike just mentioned a select board policy book, and I don't have one. I feel left out. I would like to have either a printed copy of every one of the town's current policies, or if that's too much, a link to a library of them electronically.
So I'll give you I gave everyone last year a big binder full of the policies.
Love it.
And I'll give you a copy of that
Perfect. Thank you
binder
so
as well
much.
at the next meeting.
So those are my goals and wish list.
Does everybody still have their binders?
Yep.
Okay. Nate, you have yours?
Got it.
Okay. Mike? All right. Enrique, you have yours? And Kelly? Okay. I'll get
Just
you that in the
me.
next meeting.
I'm left out.
The new kid.
The new kid, yeah. Thank you.
Rika, you have anything you want to add?
Minor things, actually, Forrest covered a lot of it. I mentioned before, I would like to get a recycling committee in particular, just because I feel like we need to improve the functioning of our solid waste stuff. I'm a little foggy tonight, so I didn't bring the sheet on which I made notes. So for right now, that's the only thing that, and DeForest, when you said long-range financial planning, is that like capital plan? Is that the same thing as
I
a
hear a
capital
lot
plan?
of different names, capital plans,
that's
long-range
basically-
financial planning, I'm not sure. I want to make sure I'm using the terms correctly, so I don't know, I have a lot more to learn about that, but I guess the idea is setting aside, there's reserve funds, but then there's long-range planning that we have to do to plan ahead to buy fire apparatus and dump trucks and asphalt and whatever, and I need to know more about, I'd like to know more about how we're doing that, but outside of the budget season, because it's always crammed and crazy then, I thought maybe we could take a little time. And as for the town plan, I thought maybe we could tackle a chapter a month or something to, we've done a lot. I mean, I've read the town plan and we've implemented a lot, but a lot of it doesn't have anything to do with the zoning bylaws, and if it doesn't come up in the course of some other conversation, it gets overlooked or never happens, so I thought we should get more intimately acquainted with the town plan. It's an important document.
Mike?
And the town plan seems to keep growing just about every year, too. Out of every legislative session, I think we're up to like nine elements. Back when you were on the, in zoning, I think it was 5 elements. I think it's up to 9.
It was more than that, but there was, I believe you when you
Yeah,
say it's growing, yeah.
Yeah, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Capital plan, Brandon, you had a date that you were projecting to be wrapping up with that. What is that?
Yeah. So we have, one of the biggest reasons we stopped the capital plan last year is because we were working on the fire departments, and we're still trying to determine what trucks are in the best interest of the town. But we have highway done, we're working on fire department equipment right now. We started that last year and we've just resumed doing that. Police cruisers is done, but we have to work on police equipment. Highway just did a highway paving plan. So what we plan on doing is having them separate, but also what a combined capital plan looks like. And we'll have that ready this fall. But we'll give a bigger update on the agenda, maybe in the next meeting, exactly where we are.
As long as it's outside of budgets.
Yes.
Get so distracted doing that.
And there was also discussion of DeForest brought up the website. There's also some planning going on there too, correct?
There is. I came forward to the board with a request to redo the website. The board did not fund that. So we're internally trying to find time to do it, and time is limited.
How about money?
Money's limited as well. Which is why I asked for ARPA funds to do it.
Just trying to get answers out there before us. They're good questions.
So we did not use ARPA funds for that, is that correct?
No. But in this upcoming budget to actual report that I'll receive here in 4 or 5 days, we're going to see if we can carve out some funding to still do the website project. So that's where we're at.
One more thing, and I'll shut up. Maybe for a minute. Towards the one of our last meetings, you pointed out something about either some FEMA funds or something that actually ended up kind of getting dumped in our lap. Could you update the board on that?
So I don't have exact numbers with me. I didn't come prepared with that. But we had 3 large FEMA projects, and we had originally obligated, I think it was around 1.2 million for all 3 of those projects, and we came under budget about 400,000. And the state of Vermont Emergency Management said that those funds will still be sent to us to use for roads and highway maintenance and potential purchases of equipment. So that's around 400,000 roughly that we'll receive.
We haven't received it yet.
I don't know if it hit the bank yet. I'll ask the treasurer tomorrow, but it should be coming any day. It may have hit the bank.
Is it for any restricted use, or is it just our money to use wherever?
Restricted for the highway department,
Okay.
for improvements in the town, mitigation, purchases of equipment that can be used for mitigation. And I think Ray plans on giving a highway department update in the next meeting. So maybe him and I can get together and we can discuss how to potentially use those funds. I think the highway capital plan is going to need quite a bit of money up front. So that might be a good allocation for it to get it stabilized. Because we were kind of worried about the upfront cost, and with that money, we could put it into the capital plan, and so.
Nathan, do you have anything?
Well, I think Mike and DeForest sort of covered mine. I mean, I also agree that we need to sort of ground our work in the town plan. I think it'll help us be more proactive versus reactive. And I think Mike's speaking about getting into policy governance versus getting into the weeds, I think is important. And I guess the other thing I just have an eye on is thinking about how to fill all these vacancies in these appointments, right? And which we had a number that got left open last year.
Can I respond to Nathan on, just to add something? Under appointments, to try to perhaps help avoid what happened at the end of this last session, should we be doing any appointments at all in the fourth quarter? And maybe we should look at that and consider just, because what are you going to have in the fourth quarter? 6 meetings, maybe, if that? And they might, if for smaller committees, might be even less than that. And they're just, depending on what it is. I mean, obviously, if you have a committee that needs something, you obviously can take care of that. But you might not want to just clear that stuff off the agenda so that we don't have that mess at the end of the year. Because I don't know if it makes sense. You're going to have an election, and most of them are going to get set aside again anyway. So, anyway.
Anything else? Open meeting law discussion. Is this you, Brandon?
We didn't hear your goals, Kelly.
Everyone else did mine.
Okay.
Motion
I just want to make sure.
Because I don't sense repeating them all.
All right.
Some things never change.
We're on open meeting law?
Yep.
Okay. Did everybody have an opportunity to take the training?
Yep.
Any questions or anything for me in regards to the open meeting law?
I think next time maybe find something a little more exciting. I may have zoned out in the same part a couple of
I
times.
had to watch it a couple of times.
You didn't
I
like
did
the way those women talk, huh?
It was just a lot. It was a lot. But I found it actually really helpful. I learned quite a
Yeah.
bit and just thought through quite a bit.
Yeah, and the PowerPoint was helpful.
Yeah.
Watching the video and then also watching the slides was also helpful. Both, but I'll need to go back through it a couple more times.
Yep. I watched a couple of them, and that one seemed to be the most informative. So there were more exciting ones, but those ones kind of left out information. That one was the most up-to-date version that we could find. I learned one thing from it, so,
It's a dry topic.
yeah.
And will that be the same training we use with the chairs of the committees?
That's what I was thinking. If you guys are okay with that, I would, every time someone's appointed, like when you guys do these appointments tonight, when I write their appointment letter, because what happens is the select board makes the appointment, and then I write an official letter with everything that they need to do, take your oath, and then I'll also add that as a bullet point to watch that video. I don't know if you guys also want some kind of a form that people sign off on confirming that they watched the video, or just, okay.
What changes in open meeting law would apply to different committees? Open meeting law is open meeting laws.
What changed?
Yeah, no, what changes would apply to different committees? Nate's point was, are we going to have that with all committees? Are we going to, or are they going to have something different? I think you can do something different with Robert's Rules of Order. I'm not sure you can with the open meeting law.
No, I think it's only, I think, a 34-minute video.
Yep.
And it teaches you a lot in those 34 minutes.
Okay, is that what your reference was? To have everybody watch the
That-
video?
yeah,
Oh,
that's-
okay, all right, I misunderstood. I misunderstood this.
And this way the entire town's watched the same video, and we're all on the same page.
Yeah, no, I misunderstood what he was saying.
Would we do the same with the conflict of interest? I mean, there must be something out there. Certainly quasi-judicial boards run the risk of not understanding they shouldn't talk to each other outside
Yep.
of the meeting, which isn't really covered under open meeting law.
Yeah, so code of ethics, it's a whole new thing this year. I'll go over that a little bit more under the municipal code of ethics.
Are we done with the open meeting law discussion?
Sorry.
That's all right. Okay. Municipal code of ethics?
All right, for that, I just want to pull up my iPad real quick. I gave everyone a packet. It's this big one here.
Just arrived tonight.
Just kidding. So since this is, I wish I could have had this prepared on Friday to give it to you in advance, but I did not have the time on Friday. So since this is the first time you're seeing it, if you can just review it between now and the next meeting on the 24th, we can discuss it more then. We don't need any action tonight, but included in the packet is the municipal code of ethics. We created a Weathersfield complaint form, whistleblower protections, code of ethics investigation and enforcement ordinance, a quick reference chart for identifying conflicts of interest, and the municipal ethics training tracker. And in that tracker, I've identified the people that would be taking this training. We may want to have more people take it, but that's just kind of like where I started. So take a look at that, and then if you guys think we should add more people in, we can do that. The biggest thing we need to do is appoint a liaison to the State Ethics Commission. In Springfield, they appointed Jeff Movis, the town manager, to be the liaison. I don't mind being the liaison, but it could also be Suzanne, who's in Human Resources. So one of those two I would recommend to be the liaison.
What's that responsibility? What is that liaison?
You are the person who accepts the complaints, if there are any, and then you also, I believe that, I haven't read too much into it, but I think you also attend the meetings with the state as the town's representative.
Okay.
What's your recommendation on that?
To either appoint Suzanne or I.
Yeah, that's it. One or the other, you don't care?
No.
You don't already have enough on your plate, or maybe she has too much on hers, I don't know.
I would prefer it to be Suzanne since she's Human Resources. I think she's the person that would be taking the complaints. So even if the complaint did come to me, I would defer it to her anyways. So maybe she should be going to this, attending the state's ethics commission meetings and so forth. I think it would be a good fit. Please.
I think, just myself, I prefer to wait till next meeting unless you need it
Absolutely.
now, until I've read this whole thing.
That's fine.
I was gonna
We
say
we don't
something.
need action tonight, Nate.
We only have discussion on this on the agenda anyway, so I don't know if you can take, I suppose you could, but it's not really an emergency.
And I've also put this packet up online under the select board agenda item for tonight. So if you go to the select board page and go to tonight's meeting, it's available electronically too, for anybody that wants to see it in the public.
No questions? Is that it? Are you done with that one?
Yeah, I'm all set.
Okay, we're going to move on to the fire department PPE.
Great. So on this one, I'll just get here so everybody can see.
You want the motion?
Please.
Make a motion to purchase 3 coats and 3 pants for our firefighters for a total cost not to exceed $11,191.45, and to waive the purchasing policy requirement to go through the bid process.
Second.
Any discussion?
One of my worries, because it always makes sense in the moment, is we several times last year have waived the purchasing policy or the bidding, it's really the bidding process, right? For all weird extenuating, kind of circumstances, but we haven't gone back and looked at the purchasing policy, or, that bidding requirement. And so, I guess I'm a little, I don't like the trend of waiving a policy.
Yep.
Because we seem to be doing it more and more. I do realize that it's like more expedient, right? 10 grand seems low compared to at least what I thought, at least in the school world. I think it's 14 or 15. But I do think the intent of those policies is to be transparent and give, open bid, to give people the opportunity to bid for public dollars for the same service.
So the purchasing policy needs to be revised, and we're working on revising the purchasing policy. Steve, Patience, and I have been working on it pretty much every other week. In this case, the threshold is very low, and we're like, to put 3 jackets for firefighters and 3 pairs of pants out to bid, it doesn't really make sense to me. We would only have one person, like MES it's pretty much a sole source. I think there's one other person that may bid on it. So since 2020, we've been waiving the purchasing policy to buy PPE if it exceeds the $10,000 threshold. So what would happen is, like if we put this out to bid, I would advertise an invitation for bids, and then the scope of work, it's not really a project, it's a purchase. Like if, for example, like if you put out your school uniform, a pair, like a couple of shirts and some pants and some shoes, I don't know if Kohl's or, J. Crew would submit a bid for that. I don't think MES would either, for this kind of a purchase. So I would recommend that I think that there needs to be something in the purchasing policy that allows the town manager to approve PPE, because it's just not something that you would send out through the bid process, I don't think. I've never seen it.
I remember seeing it like once. And I think it was just 2 companies. Ray, does that sound about right? There was just 2 companies that did bid. This goes back 5 or 6 years, maybe even more. I remember MES was on there. I don't even remember the name of the other company.
And like,
Yes, there's all kinds of different turnout gear companies. A lot of it is comes down to comfort, work with us.
Yeah.
Dave prefers his, I prefer mine. It kind of comes down to a comfort thing for each kind of gear. So it's hard. Turnout gear is really hard. I have a long torso. Somebody else loves another kind of gear. I have to have a certain kind for me.
it is, and I totally agree with you, Nate. I don't like waiving the policy either. If there is ability to go out to bid for something, then we would. But I think if these 3 coats and these 3 pants go out to bid, I just don't see us getting any response.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the
And then we-
paragraph before that, right, is the policy that, right, would make sense for this kind of stuff, which is, purchase of goods, it caps out at 10.
Yeah.
It says, sign up to buy a department head, and you got at least 3 quotes.
Yep.
Right, which is you going to 3 PPE providers and getting a quote and saying, this is why I think we should go with that one.
Yep.
Right, which makes sense for these kind of purchases. But I guess if it's been 5 years and we've been waiving the policy, it means we should have probably dealt with the policy.
Yeah, we absolutely need to.
So, yeah.
How soon will we see that policy?
What was that?
How soon will we see that policy?
I'm hoping to have it to you guys in the next meeting. Other things, we had it on as a future agenda item for a long time, and other things just kept taking priority over this. So, again, I'd hate to advertise in the newspaper an RFP to do this. I don't think that an RFP is needed for the 3 coats and 3 pairs of pants.
No, right, and this, right, what is laid out is the right, I think,
Yeah.
the right approach.
And that's the approach that we took, and it's the approach that we've been taking, but then we come into this situation to where I can't approve this purchase because it exceeded the $10,000. So we bring it, the auditors every year, if I approve this, for example, and the select board didn't waive the policy, that would be a finding. So we didn't just want to move forward with it.
Did we look at 3 quotes? Did we look at 3 vendors that could provide it and
So-
figure out what that cost was and make the decision?
Typically, it's MES is like the main provider for PPE. I can ask Derek and see if he looked at other vendors. Like Ray was saying, it's usually preference. I know this happened back in October when Derek took over as chief. So he placed this order, and then we received the invoice, and it got put on the warrant last week. And then I caught it, and I was like, wait, we have to take that off the warrant and get the select board to approve this first. So that's how this agenda item came forward.
So it sounds like the answer is no to your question. Which is, I think is okay if we're waiving the policy along, to accept the purchase. If you want, consistent with about 5 years of,
And we've used MES for a long time. I think we need to, I was talking to Chief Compo, and we do want to look at other vendors as well. But
I'm on, Madam Chair, as well.
Yeah, he's on. So am I taking it we already have these, since we already got the bill?
could you recognize Chief Compo and let him explain this a little bit more?
Go ahead, Josh, you can talk, Compo.
Well, I'm here, and actually have Chief Dawson with me as well. We're at West Weathersfield vendor meeting tonight. The gear is in the possession of the fire department. The previous chief, I think, just didn't realize it needed to go out to bid. So it didn't go out to bid, to my knowledge. And so that's, to Brandon's point, that's why we're here now, trying to just work through this and be transparent about the whole situation. Chief Dawson and I are working, as we work forward, we would prefer to work with a preferential vendor so that we can build that relationship, because to Brandon's point, we're not likely to get multiple bids moving forward, especially year after year if we don't go with different vendors. So we are also in support that we try to put some leeway in this purchasing policy for things of this nature.
Thank you. What do we want to do? Someone?
Ray?
Ray?
I just have one thing to do.
Podium's over there tonight.
I have one real quick statement that might help. Everybody heard of Sourcewell, the bid site Sourcewell? It's a national group. I've talked to Brandon like maybe 4 years ago about it. If we adopt Sourcewell as a bid option, it's a national bid. You can get equipment. MES is on there. You probably get a better price than what we're paying now. But they do a bid like a state bid, but it's national. So we don't have to go through the bid process. You just punch in a municipal MES services and what you want for gear, and they give you a quote, or they give you a bid number. And they set you up with the vendor, and it's just like using a state bid. It meets all our standards and all our guidelines as far as the purchasing policy on putting stuff out to bid. You don't have to put a fire coat out to bid. You just punch in what you want, and they give you the bid number, and you use that to purchase, and it meets our purchasing policy. Just a thought.
Well, I do appreciate Chief's clarity on like how we got to the problem, right? And I know you've been working on with the fire department quite a bit, and just making sure that policies are in place. It would have been nicer had the stuff not been here, right? If we didn't already have a bill that we're talking about right before we have the conversation.
I'm in the same boat as you, Nathan, and I sent out an email last week explaining pretty much what you just said, so.
So we'll take a vote. We vote on this, right?
Please.
Motion on the floor.
Motion on the floor. All in favor of the, to approve the purchase of 3 coats and 3 pants for our firefighters at a total cost not to exceed $11,191.45, and waive the purchasing policy requirement to go through the bid process. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
Thank you for understanding, and we'll improve going forward.
Town manager updates.
I just have a couple of quick things. The first is Easter Sunday is coming up, and it's not in our personnel policy as a holiday, but the transfer station is open on that Sunday. So they're looking, I got a request today to close the transfer station on Easter Sunday. And I'm wondering how the board feels about that.
Have we never been closed? Easter always falls on a Sunday. Have we never been closed for it?
Last year we were open. In prior years we used the floating holiday, but we replaced the floating holiday with Martin Luther King Day. And we never changed anything for the transfer station, so they were open last year. And Tyler Waters came to me and said that he would like to be with his family in New York.
Ray, what do you want to do?
This was brought up, like Brandon said, is a while ago. It was determined to do the holiday for the transfer station for Easter Sunday. It makes up for a lot of holidays they don't get throughout the year, even though, like Tyler's a full-time employee, he doesn't get all the holidays like Labor Day, and if they fall on a Monday or a day that they're not already open, it kind of offsets the loss of him working on most holidays, like Thanksgiving. They're open Wednesday and they have Thanksgiving off, but they don't get Thanksgiving. It's a very nice gesture to make up for them not getting certain holidays. I support it.
Sunday's open noon to 4, right?
Correct. He's there from 7 to 4.
2 individuals with pay for that day?
Correct. We've done it in the past. It's just they work every weekend, so it's nice to give them a holiday on a weekend, I feel.
So motion to give,
Do we need a vote,
I don't know.
or is that,
I can just do it, but I just wanted to make sure the board's okay with me doing that.
I think personally, it would be really nice to have a calendar that gets approved ahead of time, right, for the year. So everybody knows ahead of time, this is your work, right, versus this flexible sort of as we run into situations.
And we do have one for all of the holidays except for this one because it's not in the personnel policy. So this isn't an approved,
Because usually people don't work on Sundays, only the transfer station does.
but we do have one for all of the holidays.
Right, so it seems like, right, if the transfer station works on Sunday, we should have a calendar.
It wasn't an issue until the
Those-
floating holiday went away. We
Yep.
usually don't use the floating holiday to do that.
So staff would say, we're gonna take a floating holiday, it's closed.
Correct. And the town manager would approve that. But we don't have a floating holiday anymore, so I don't have that ability.
Should we amend the personnel policy to include this particular situation?
If the board would like to
Sure we
do
know
that,
it's going to be closed on Sundays?
yes, we could add that in there.
And just get it done one time.
Yeah.
And then
Absolutely.
we'll know every year this is going to happen.
It's just on,
Right.
it'll be on the calendar that day is off for them.
I think as an employee, I'd wanna know, right, have a calendar, I mean, that would,
It's such a simple thing to do. So I'm in favor of giving them this Sunday off for Easter, or the Sunday off for Easter.
Me too.
I support that.
Likewise.
I do.
Yeah, I don't think we need a vote. I think it's
General-
within your
just a general
authority to do.
consensus to allow the town manager to do his thing.
Okay. So we will close the transfer station on Easter. Like I was saying before, we're in the process of working on an updated purchasing policy. We're working on a fundraiser cash management policy, an updated credit card policy, and a reserve fund policy. So those are currently in progress. Finance and I have been meeting weekly, and we have edits every week, and then we review the updated version in the next meeting. So we spent a couple of hours last week on this, and plan to do the same this week.
A moment ago, we were talking about transfer station. This past Sunday, they were out of 5 punch tickets again. So just some communication. I don't want to blame anybody or point fingers over them or us, whatever, but again, we got to have a conversation with them about better preparation to make sure that they're not running out of either set of stickers over there on the west side.
Are you saying the store?
The downers.
So they're supposed to be letting us, we don't know when they get low.
I know.
So the communication has to come from them to us in order for us to know how many punch tickets they have. And when they get low, they should be coming here to get more.
I understand that, but if they're running out frequently of 5 cards, then we have to have a conversation with them about making sure they have a reserve on hand that doesn't happen, that they need to, because they're selling them for us. You know,
Yes, they
they're
are.
getting paid for it.
Yep.
So, I
Understood.
mean, I'd be really mad if I went in and they didn't have any Mountain Dew. I can deal with a sticker, but if they were out of Mountain Dew, we got a problem.
Well, they make a little more money, they sell you a 10.
Yeah. No, I just go over and I tell the guy, I owe you. See you next week.
Is that it for you?
I have one more thing.
Okay.
Last year I went to Columbia in February, and the board asked me not to do that again, to do it after town meeting. So we're going to visit Natalia's family in Columbia on March 28th. Typically, I appoint Jeff Mobus as the acting town manager. He'll be on vacation at the same time this year. His wife is actually also in Columbia, and he's going to visit her. So I had a conversation with Ryan Gumbart, and I appointed him as the acting town manager while I'm gone. We'll be in communication throughout that time, but he'll be officially the acting town manager while I'm on vacation.
How long will you be gone?
I'll be gone for 2 weeks.
As if nobody's ever had trouble trying to remember which of you is Gumbart and which of you is Goldnick.
Yeah. Yep. So that will take place, and I think Kelly and I plan on setting the agenda after the meeting, after the next meeting.
Yep.
And the last thing is the town manager of Rockingham and I recently signed a new agreement for land use services and new percentages for both towns, and they work within the budget. But that's all I
And
have.
you said you were going to Columbia on the 28th, did you
Yep.
say? Okay. Wonderful.
Future agenda items? Are there any of these we want to put on for our next agenda?
We can
Oh, we
do
got Wellward Orchard Road.
Wellwood Orchard Road, naming waterways, and the purchasing policy.
Okay.
Could you explain what Wellwood Orchard Road is?
The road that goes from Reservoir Road to Center Road.
It's a dirt road.
Dave told you to say that, right?
Kelly, do you want to explain?
I recently received an email from a gentleman who owns a piece of property on Weathersfield Center Road. He sent me an email and it didn't tell me where he lived. He just said he's having problems with the road being higher than his property and his land getting really, really wet. So I tried to figure out where he lived, just by his name, I just assumed that he lived on Wellward Orchard Road. So, I just figured that we need to have a discussion with Ray to figure out, so this guy can realize that we looked into it.
Does he in fact live on Wellwood Orchard Road?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm unable, I've tried to email him back for the email that he sent me, and it keeps coming back dead. It's a
Okay.
dead, I don't know how to contact the gentleman.
I'll reach out to Mr. Snide
Okay.
and let him know that it'll be on the next agenda.
Okay, thank you.
I was being nice by not saying his name.
Oh, sorry.
You didn't hear anything.
Okay, appointments. Looks like we got,
Do you want to make a list for that next agenda? or-
oh, yeah, are we ready?
I am.
Do you guys have anything you want to add on?
I would love to do this purchasing policy, because I'm
Yeah,
kind of
that's on
loath
there.
to approve. All right, you've sort of already checked these off?
Yeah,
All right.
we got Wellward Orchard Road, naming waterways, purchasing policy,
You're doing all of these?
those three so
agenda.
far.
Okay.
For the next agenda, yeah.
And is the salt shed ready at this point to move forward with?
So they reached out to Mr. Fuller a couple of times, and they haven't been able to connect with him on his alternative that he was proposing.
Okay.
We
So
need-
we're feeling like at this point, we're ready?
I would like to discuss that under highway superintendent updates at the next select board meeting.
Okay,
Okay,
I could just give an overview on that. if you'd like.
that sounds good.
Thank you.
and municipal code of ethics discussion needs to be added.
Yep.
Is that under training schedule?
No,
or-
that's the stuff that he just gave us.
Okay, okay. And what is under the training schedule? What does that include?
We don't have that yet.
Okay.
We're not gonna do that at the next.
And I just
Okay.
was curious what it
is,
what it entails.
The municipal code of ethics?
No,
No, the training schedule.
What does that include?
So that was something that the prior chair wanted to put on the agenda.
What are we talking about?
Training schedule.
Item A, 12A.
The training schedule had to do with Robert's Rules of Order, open meeting law, all of that
That's what I
stuff.
thought.
So
Okay.
that may be all set.
So we could cross that one off.
Well, I personally, Robert's rules, right, we haven't, I've read this policy that you referenced, and I look forward to reading the 9-page thing, but I think it's worth having sort of a conversation just on Robert's rules. What, proper, how to run a meeting, and rules. I think that's not a bad discussion to have after we've read your.
You want that at the next meeting?
Well, here's my suggestion. This is going to amount to a policy change, because, like I said, it's contained in the conduct of meetings. Robert's Rules of Order is already in there. So how we handle that within it's number 9, if you go to number 9.
No, I saw it.
So if you take the thing that I've given you tonight and just go over that, review that, and if for anybody that knows Robert's Rules of Order, you see something that you might want in there, or the language that they've included that needs to be whittled down, because it's designed to fit a lot of different boards and places, and you got to kind of pick the words that are supposed to be there. They've set that up with brackets, and you can make comments and make changes. And I would start there, so that we start, like, everybody start getting an idea of what you want to see, what you don't want to see, what works, what doesn't work, what you think. And then we can bring it to the table as a policy change, which will lead to 3 readings. And through that whole process, you make changes. And
Because the policy, as I read it, right, says we default to the Robert's rules
That's
unless
correct.
we've designated something else.
that is correct. That is correct. And this is actually for VLCT, suggesting that we set this up as our default. But there may be stuff in that section too, under the conduct of meetings, that you want to keep. That was stuff that was created by this board previously. So there might be some stuff there you want to keep. So look at both the policies. DeForest is going to need that book to do that, Brandon.
I can pick it up tomorrow if it's available.
We'll have to print it and put it together and hole punch it and stick it into a binder. So if you don't mind, I'll just email you when it's ready for pickup.
Thank you.
Do you have that in a folder, or do you need somebody to leave a book? Do you have it in a computer folder that you can just,
Yeah, we just have to copy it and print it and 3-hole punch it and put it into a binder. So it'll take a little bit of time.
I'm just going to say I can leave mine so you can copy it, is all.
I have one.
Okay.
The only other thing I wouldn't mind saying is, right, if we're talking about starting to review the town plan, that if that's
Pick a chapter.
a goal, is maybe
Start a chapter.
start, I'm also aware there's a lot of things on the list.
That's a lot for one. But we could put it on the list for future agenda items. Is that it? Could we add town plan under the list of future
Yeah.
agenda items?
Yeah, I got it on there.
Okay, great, thanks.
Did you get that?
Yep.
So we took 3 off and added 5? I get that right? Okey dokey. You keeping up with us?
Okay.
Behave yourself.
Now
So-
I guess we're, well, go ahead.
Just to be clear, we're going to remove training schedule. Wellwood Orchard Road will come off of future agenda items because it'll be on the next agenda. Same with naming waterways and purchasing policy.
And the salt shed study, Ray's going to address under his
Yep.
presentation next meeting.
So we'll be left with road sign discussion, personnel policy, reserve fund policy, fundraiser cash management policy, and the town plan under future agenda items. And then on the next agenda, we'll have purchasing policy, Robert's rules, Wellwood Orchard Road, highway department update.
No, Wellwood Orchard Road's on the next one. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
And then naming waterways, code of ethics, and then town manager updates. I'll give an update on the capital plan and a finance update. Good.
Everyone got that?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm not sure if this is the point at which to bring this up, but it occurred to me that, because appointments was on the committee, that at some point we should confirm and/or restore the number of positions on different committees. You know, since there have been some questions, and, you know, with the, what was it, is it the fence viewers? Is there the wares of coal or something? There are a couple of things where, you know, it's, well, we always used to have one and now we have 3, and it's, I just, again, don't want to get into the kind of thing that we had with the Veterans Committee, that we're clear about how many positions are there.
I
And
think he
Yes,
met with Flo Ann the other day and went through and made sure all these were correct.
Yep.
Okay,
Am I right?
That is correct. Yep.
okay.
Okay, are we ready for our appointments?
I've received a couple of additional
Sense.
people that would like appointment tonight, but I figured I'd at least bring them up. David Fuller would like to be on the Conservation Commission. Julia Gumbart would like to be on the Parks and Recreation Commission.
Sean Messier would like to be on Parks and Recreation. I handed them all to you, Kelly.
Okay.
And then there was, I think, Justin Vanel would like to be on the Parks and Recreation.
Martin Memorial Home.
Oh, and Ray, I believe Ray was in there too. Whoopsies, yes.
Can you say those?
Yeah, can you go through those?
I will, just a second here, I just got a Parks and Rec.
We have we
Okay.
have somebody in the public with their hand raised.
Yes. Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Ann Bondel, and I didn't know that we're voting tonight or making appointments, and I'm interested in being on the Budget Committee, and also I'm a registered nurse, and I'd like to be on the Health Committee or the I saw that there was a vacancy on the...
Health officer?
Health officer.
What's it called?
Health
Health
officer.
officer.
Health officer? But I was wondering if there's any description of what the duties are, just to make sure that I have enough time to dedicate to these roles.
So we have a deputy health officer position available. The official health officer has been appointed by the state for 3 years, but we're looking for a deputy health officer. So if you give me your email address, then I'll send you the responsibilities of that.
Okey doke. Okay. Right.
What's your last name?
V Vondle. And I work full-time, so I just want to make sure.
I just want to make sure I've got it if we're going to nominate you for something here. So,
Thank you. And ANN is my first name.
yep, that part I got.
Okay, thank you.
Did she say the first one she wanted to be on was the budget committee?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, my ears are plugged from a cold and I can't get rid of it. Okay, we'll start at the top. Animal Control Officer, one vacancy, Kathy Sullivan. Do we
So
want-
moved.
Second.
Any?
No discussion?
No discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Who seconded that?
I did.
DeForest. Board of Listers, 2 vacancies. Budget Committee, there's 7 vacancies. We've got Beth Hunton and Ann
Wandel.
Vondel.
So moved.
Mr. Chair, if we're taking application or volunteers for it, I can amend my paper tomorrow, but I'd like to volunteer for budget committee as well.
And Joseph Bublat, number 3.
You can also put me down on the DRB as an alternate.
So moved.
And a second? For Budget Committee? Is there a second? Nathan? Second? Any discussion? That makes a Budget Committee for Beth Hunton, Ann Vondu, Joseph Bublat. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Conservation Commission, 4 vacancies, Dave Fuller for one of them.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Connecticut River Joint Committee Representative, 1 vacancy. Development Review Board, 3 vacancies and 2 alternates. So we got Todd Hindinger, Beth Hunton, and Grace Knights. No alternates?
Joseph Bublat wanted to be an alternate.
Oh,
So I'm assuming that Todd, Beth,
is
and
that the
Grace
DRB that you wanted to be? Okay, sorry, I didn't know. Sorry.
I slipped into planning commission.
Okay,
A bit of a discussion on this one.
Okay.
For me.
I
The
have
motion
to-
has not been made yet, so I guess we want to get the motion on the floor.
yeah, motion to accept,
Yep, so moved.
second?
Second.
As the former chair, I received a lot of phone calls and complaints about the DRB. And I was able to separate those out as individual from actual zoning and DRB conduct. In the fact that there's no issue with Ryan or the law, it's some of the actions and behaviors that are taking place at the DRB. And there is a specific name that keeps coming up. It's Todd Hindinger. I think earlier we talked about of the town plan. The town plan is implemented, it's the structure for the plan for the town. The zoning bylaws are the implementation tool for that. And those things need to be worked together. We may need to have some sort of a meeting, a joint meeting, to try to get the process on the right tracks in serving the people of this town. To sum it up a bit, it seems like what's going on over at the DRB, I know they're trying hard and they're trying to interpret the law and stuff, but as opposed to being a service, to the residents, it's kind of being more of an impediment and costing, people believe, more than it needs to with some of the decisions that are coming out of the board. I just.
We haven't seen anything appealed.
I think it would be good for this board to, no, it's not a matter of appeal necessarily. In some cases, people are just dropping or changing their plans. That's not good either.
To meet the recommendations.
No, to not even bother going through it. They just stop what they're doing. That's not good for the town either. So, there has to be some sort of direction there in some way. From the planning commission, my suggestion has been through Ryan that they take his lead. He's the zoning administrator. He knows the bylaws. He works them every day. And if they're confused on language, they should resort to him and maybe take some guidance from him. It doesn't seem to be happening. Anyway, I'm just concerned. We had an issue back in 2010 of petitions to remove zoning. I've heard a few people say that it might not be a bad idea to go there. I don't want to go there again. I don't want to see that. It's a big waste of time. It's not something that I would support. Really didn't then either, even though I was part of that process. It wasn't. Anyway, we need zoning, but we need, as DeForest stated in her campaign, good zoning, good regulatory zoning for the town, what makes sense. But we can't have, we can't have.
So, go ahead, sorry.
We can't have rules that say something and then put something in vaguely, and that's something the planning commission can fix, that the DRB can run away with, such as landscaping or screening, these kinds of things, and they just decide what they want when it's not necessarily called for. That's kind of a personal agenda kind of thing.
So I don't think, right now it's appropriate, right? We just talked about complaint policies, right? I don't think right now it's appropriate to call out individuals, especially if, there's been no complaint, at least to the board level that I'm aware of.
Then that is correct.
So I don't think it's appropriate.
Well, the people that have called me didn't think it was appropriate either.
Right, and they have an avenue they need to follow, and
Yep.
And you should be, if they're
So
calling you should be
my
pushing them
suggestion,
to follow that policy.
my suggestion would be to perhaps reach out to some of the people that have been through this process over the last 3 years, whether it was zoning or DRB, and have some interviews with some of these people about what worked, what didn't work, what they might have for ideas. Now, and I understand zoning is probably one of the most difficult things. One of the judges from the E-Court, his statement on zoning was, be careful, because it is an infringement on landowners' rights, and it has to be balanced, and that was part of the discussions in 2010, it was to balance it. And I just want to make sure that that's where we are, that's all. I don't want to, if I had a problem with Todd being on there, I would have made some sort of motion to exclude him. But I think Todd's sharp character, he's very intelligent. I think he's got the town's interest in best interest at heart.
He puts a lot of hours in for the town.
Yes,
Doing a lot of work. Other towns pay professionals to do it, that's right.
I agree. But we got to make sure that things are going the right way too, according to the law and the town plan. So, anyway, that's it. But somehow we need to follow up on that.
Any other discussion?
No, I just think, be honest, I think that was an inappropriate comment to make about a committee member, right? We've just gone through
You're
this.
dealing with something that everybody has to deal with, it costs money,
And
and
there's a process.
it's not inappropriate.
Okay, there's a motion on the table. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Any opposed? Carries. One energy coordinator position available. Fence viewers, 3 vacancies. Joseph Boublat is going to be sitting on the fence and looking to see what people are doing.
My horses were out yesterday,
Yeah,
so
make
I'm
sure the
out.
sheep stay on the right side.
So moved.
Anybody second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Green Up Coordinator, 1 vacancy. Health Officer, we just got Ann Bondul here who,
Could I interrupt? It says health officer on here. Did you mean to put deputy health officer? Because I thought you said we have a health officer.
Yeah, Mark Richardson was appointed for 3 years, and I thought that he appointed the deputy, but it's actually the select board that appoints a deputy according to Mark.
But on the agenda, it says
says
health officer.
Yes, I can modify it to be deputy.
I was under the understanding she wanted to see
She wanted to see the
Yep.
job
can
description.
we hold off on this one until the next meeting? Okay. Well, Health Officer will wait till the next meeting. Okay. Martin Memorial Hall Trustees, 3 vacancies. I've got 2 on here, Julia Gumbar and Olivia Savage.
So moved.
Second.
I think, oh yeah, you're good, sorry about that.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Oh, no, I got one more I need to add. Sorry.
To Martin Memorial Hall?
Oh, no, she's on there.
That's
She
the
was the only
same
one.
mistake I just
Yeah,
made in my
okay,
head.
sorry. I just, because these papers were handed to me, I didn't know that these were on the list. But that's all I have.
So it's just Julia and Olivia?
Yeah.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mount Scottney Regional Commission, 1 vacancy. Parks and Rec, 7 vacancies. So I've got Olivia Savage, I've got Julia Gumbart, Justin Bunnell, Sean Messner, and Ray Stapleton.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I got added.
Nicole Gagnon,
Sign me up too. She's on and I'm gonna have to.
how many is that?
That would-
I
that
lost
would-
count.
I thought we were at 5. That would be 7.
Yep, that would fill that.
And Joe would be 7?
I'll amend the motion to include Joe Buble and
Nicole.
Nikki.
And Nicole?
Nicole.
Just a quick question, Olivia. Is Brian Bosenberg still the technical advisor? Okay, so he doesn't, all right. Okay, I just wanted to be sure, because I know it's right in the middle of the
That
project, so.
makes 7, that makes all those filled. But we can have more, right?
Yes.
Is it 7 only? We can add more later if they wanna.
You can't have a, you can't
Yeah.
have an unlimited membership.
Okay.
How do you meet the open meeting law with an
I don't-
unlimited membership?
I suggest that we review the Parks and Recreation Commission policy again
Yep.
and make it 7.
Okay.
Yep,
Doesn't mean other people can't help out. They're just
absolutely.
not.
Right, okay.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Planning Commission, 2 vacancies. I have Hank Ainley and Brian Bosenberg.
So moved.
Second.
Yep.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Solid Waste Management District Representative, 1 vacancy, 1 alternate. I got Rika Henderson and Brandon Golnick as our alternate.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Surveyor of Wood and Lumber, there's 3 vacancies. Jesus, Joe's gonna be busy. Joseph Blatt for Woods of Lumber.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Transportation Advisory Committee, 1 vacancy. Tree Warden, 1 vacancy. Veterans Memorial Committee vacancy, I got 5. I got Joseph Blatt
I know.
for 1.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? For all of you people out there, this is a good committee to be on. Let's see if we can get some more people applying by next May meeting. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Ware of Coal, 3 vacancies, nothing.
Got a hand up.
I was supposed to check off the technical advisory committee, the TAC. I'm on it now. I didn't check the box, I apologize.
Transportation Advisory Committee.
Yes. TAC.
You're
Are you
supposed
guys
to
in
be
the middle of business?
TAC.
Are you guys in the middle of business?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm on the committee right now. I forgot to sign back up.
Transportation Advisory Committee, one vacancy, that you?
I forgot to check the box. I apologize.
Ray sent us backwards.
Yeah, but we're still in the category.
I make a motion to appoint Ray Stapleton to the Transportation Advisory Committee.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
That one's filled. Okay. On to any other business? No other business came up? Okay, approve the warrant.
Oh, we can't have you read it now, can we?
No.
We have to, we have to take over for Kelly.
Motion to approve the warrants, general fund, payroll, 22725, $10,354.78, 3625, $12,000, $12,170.88, operating expense, 31025, $31,557.89. Total, $22,525.66. Operating expense, $31,557.89. Highway fund, you want just the totals on these? $17,325 and 88 cents. Operating expense, $9,144.45. Solid waste management, operating $2,154.19.
No,
Payroll.
that's payroll.
Solid waste management.
Yes, but it's
Payroll.
payroll. You read,
2,150.
Oh, I'm sorry, payroll, $2,154.19. Operating expense, $389.70. Payroll, library, $2,399.74. Grants, operating expense, $31,545.71. Grand totals, payroll, $44,405.47, and operating, $72,637.75.
Problem is when you make it big, you lose the category, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's too big, yes. But if I make it small, it goes away.
Any
Completely.
discussion? I do.
Okay.
Can I still ask questions even though I'm chair?
Of course.
Yeah, you participate just like everybody else.
On page 5 of 5, under the general fund,
Payroll or operating expenses?
You're not looking at it on the count, on the thing, are you?
I don't know, I just know
One of
page 5 of 5, it says, general fund,
Okay.
accounts payable.
Yep.
Yep, right there. 36 of 42 if you're on the laptop.
What is the reimbursement from the West Weathersfield Fire Department for $200? Reimbursement for what? It's the very top line.
Sobel? That one?
So be it.
Yeah.
Maybe it. Ah, yeah, just gotta make it bigger.
I did not see that expense. You want me to call Josh really quick?
It's a reimbursement, though.
Yep,
Okay.
1 second.
Says repairs,
There's
non-vehicle.
non-vehicle. Something that was sewn, repaired or
That
something.
is.
I just thought maybe they were reimbursing us for
Good night,
something.
BL.
No, you typically,
Are we paying for a reimbursement?
yeah, they fill out a reimbursement form. I did not see this one. Sorry, Josh, helpful.
It's today, right?
Hey, Josh, are you near Chief Doffin?
I am. I just stepped
Yeah, I tried to call him. Could you pull him in there real quick?
Sure. Could we table our meeting for a moment?
1 second.
They're having their annual business, their annual.
So did you just need to put in like a hand on the phone and step out?
Yes, I just need Chief.
Okay, here it is.
Hey, Chief, how's it going? On the warrant, I see West Weathersfield Volunteer Fire Department so belt reimbursement for $200.
Oh, yeah.
What? Can you explain that? I did not see that.
Yeah, so that was our training dummy, that we use for, basically it's a full-size, adult, dummy that it's stuffed, and we use it for, search and rescue. It got ripped. It's, heavy Kevlar, but the shoulder part of it got ripped, so, there was a place, it was hard to find someone to fix it, so that's her company that was out of, White River, I think it was White River Junction, that we brought it up there, and she repaired the cut in it. So I just paid out of the department funds, just because it was more of just a one-time thing for her to fix it instead of having her create a whole vendor thing with the tech. So that's why then I just was asking for a reimbursement of it.
Okay, so you paid on the volunteer fire department card, and then you're just asking the town to reimburse you for it?
We wrote a check out of the fire department account.
Okay.
And paid by check. So then I gave patients the invoice, and then coded it with a reimbursement request back to the department for that fix.
Okay, thanks, Josh.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
I did not receive that reimbursement request. Typically, I approve them, but I did not see it. All right.
Yeah, I think on the I think it said. Well, I know when I put on the invoice, I did put WW reimbursement, and I know I thought she had put it into a reimbursement form. I thought maybe she didn't do that yet.
Okay, no problem. We'll take care of it in the morning.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yeah, bye.
The only other thing I have is, why do we have late fees for TDS and Green Mountain Power? We don't pay our bills?
What page? Where are you at?
I see it on page 2 of 5, down near the bottom of the page. Green Mountain Power late fees. And then it goes on to page 3 of 5, there's some late fees. And then TDS, I just saw TDS Telecom, page 4 of 5 had a late fee. I just don't understand why we're paying late fees.
So we have been having some issues with Green Mountain Power. I'll look into this, and I'll get back to you at the next meeting.
Okay. That's all I had. Okay, motion, any other discussion? Motion to approve the warrant?
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
No, any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
Second?
7:50.
Not bad.
Good job.
Terrific, in fact.
That's it. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Everybody. It's all been pretty much directed at one person.
I think it would have been more appropriate to bring it